Okay, gentlemen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you just an overview of safety. It's like, consider this an introduction to safety. So it is not going to be all about all the little details of safety glasses and hard hats and vests. And this is an overview. A lot of you guys have never worked on a construction job before. So I'm going to kind of give you an overview. Then next week, we'll get into the details. We'll kind of start breaking it down. But for the overview is like these companies you work for nowadays, I guarantee you, if it's a company of any size at all, they're going to bring you in and they're going to give you they're going to put you through their safety program. They're going to give you some stuff to read, or they're going to have you watch a video, or do both. They might give you some little test to make sure that you comprehended it. They will absolutely have you sign some sort of form saying that you read and you understood all the safety rules and their safety program, and that you will adhere to them. And they do this so if you get your freaking eye poked out because you weren't wearing your safety glasses, you can't go hire a lawyer and go sue these guys and say, oh, you know what? I was working on your job and your grinding wheel blew up that you gave me. So I'm going to sue you and I'm going to get $1 million. And, you know, you're going to hire a lawyer, and that company has a lawyer on retainer. I'm sure most of them do. And he'll just send a copy of that page back to your lawyer saying, hey, right here, your guy, your client right here read and understood that he was supposed to wear safety glasses and a face shield when using a grinder, and he was not. In the case, done deal. So this is one of the reasons that these safety programs exist, is to protect the company, and a roundabout, it protects you too. They're not fake. I mean, you need to go by them, and you'll be protected more. But the reason these companies are so serious is they have a incident rating that is reported to OSHA. And so if their incident rating is too high, they will not be able to get a lot of jobs they want to get. Like if state and federal money is involved, the state and federal is really stringent. You have to have a certain safety rating before you can even work on these jobs. So you even bid them. You know, when you bid a job, you put your price in, and then they take the lowest price. But you might be the lowest price, but they look at your safety rating and go, oh, hell no, we can't use these guys. They got way too many accidents. So anyway, this is why it's so important. It actually impacts the pocketbook, how much money a company can make, what jobs they can bid. They take it super serious. And if you don't take it serious, they will get rid of you. So you got to be on board with whatever company safety program that you're working for. You got to be on board. You can't like treat it lightly. So you got to be serious about it because it has to do with how much money that they're going to make, and they're a business to make money. So obviously safety is important to the company you're working for. It's also important to you. If you get your eye poked out, your hand chopped off, freaking crippled, dead, killed dead. I don't know which other way to get killed, but if you're killed dead, then that is going to affect your future life and how much money you can make and how you can support your family. So obviously safety is important to the company you're working for. Safety is important to you. Now, safety is important to some other people too. Think about if you got a kid or two or three or however many, you got a wife, maybe your parents are dependent on you for money. The point is, if you're out there working and you're bringing money in, there might be people dependent on that money. So if you get hurt, these people are going to be impacted by this. They might not have a place to live. They might not be able to eat. I don't know. But you need to consider that if you have people dependent on you, you need to take safety serious. The other people that are impacted by your attitude towards safety is the people you're working for. You don't want to be working with a bunch of guys that's like, oh, I dig a hole here. I don't have time to barricade it or cover it up. I'm late for lunch. I got to go. And so your ass falls in that hole you know, or a guy that leaves stuff on the edge of a roof that can fall off and hit people in the head. Or the famous one I see all the time, people leaving nails stuck through like a 2x4, 2x6. You know, you're walking around, I don't care what kind of boots you have on, unless you got some special fiberglass or steel bottom on it, or Velcro, or not Velcro, Kevlar. That freaking nail is going to go in your foot. So safety impacts the people that you're working with. And I don't want to be working with somebody who's freaking unsafe, because chances are those freaking idiots seem to get away with it and you're the one that gets hurt. So safety impacts the company you're working for. It impacts you. It impacts the people that depend on you, and it impacts your fellow workers, the people you're working with. So now, hazards. Let's talk about hazards. Hazards is anything that is dangerous, a dangerous situation on a job. All jobs, construction sites, all construction sites are freaking dangerous. You know, they talk about, oh, you know, firemen and police are getting killed all the time. Well, I freaking guarantee you, more construction workers get killed than your firefighters and your policemen, you know, but they get all the glory for it. I got a fly flying around here. I'm going to get him yet. Long story short is hazards on the job are dealt with two ways. Is number one, you eliminate a hazard. For instance, you have a hole, cover it up, put something on top of it so somebody doesn't fall in it, barricade it. You got something that could roll off the edge of the roof, get it back. If you're working towards an edge that is 6 feet more higher off the ground, you can barricade that off, build a wall, put a cable. These are all hazards that are on a job, for instance, like the nails sticking up through a board. If you see that, flip that thing down so the nails go in the dirt, or bend them over or take them out. This is a hazard that can be dealt with. And so one way to deal with hazards is you eliminate them. You neutralize them so that they are no longer a hazard. Now, some hazards on jobs cannot be eliminated. For instance, you got people grinding with grinders. You got sparks flying. You got people cutting with cutting torches or welding. You got sparks flying. You got people working overhead. So, you know, there's bound to be something falling. You cannot eliminate these hazards. There are going to be idiots that leave nails sticking up. You're going to be walking on sharp stuff. The point is, there are hazards that cannot be eliminated on a construction site. So if they can't be eliminated, this is where you have to rely on some sort of PPE, which stands for personal protection equipment, to help protect you from these hazards. So either you eliminate a hazard or you protect yourself from a hazard. That's the two ways hazards are dealt with on construction jobs. Now, OSHA has a bunch of rules for this, and you need to know these. I mean, if nowadays, if you want to get hired, you gotta, depending on the company, the bigger companies are going to want you to have one of these things. Whoops, I don't want to be flashing my numbers all over, but it's a friggin' OSHA card says that you went to class, and it proves that you know all these safety rules and protocols that you need to have. Even if the company doesn't require one, if you show up, on your job resume or whatever for your interview, man, that's a good thing to have. It'll help you get a job. So most companies nowadays, by the way, OSHA stands for Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Most states have their own. There is a federal one that gives laws for all the states. And then like California, if they want to be more stringent, they can create some more laws, but they can't create laws that are less stringent or how can I put it? California has to abide by the federal laws. Now they can make laws, they can make more laws, but they can't make less. So, but remember, there's always, OSHA isn't just one thing, it's federal and there's state. Now most companies have some sort of a they call it maybe a job hazard analysis. And that's just a fancy way of saying is you look at whatever job you're doing, especially if you're a foreman or something, you need to look at the job and you need to identify the hazards. And then for the guys working there, you need to make sure they have the right PPE, personal protection equipment, to deal with the hazards. Like if they're working up high, you're going to have to make sure they have fall protection. If there's hazards that can be eliminated, then you eliminate those hazards. You talk to your guys about it. Now, even if you're not a foreman, let's say your foreman tells you, hey, you know, you need to go over here and do whatever. You need to go up the side of this wall and work on that deal. And let's say it's up 12 feet. And the ladder he gives you, you know, as an extension ladder leans against the wall. But let's say that ground is super slick, concrete, and it's freaking wet. Well, it's up to you. Safety, the responsibility of safety depends on you. It don't depend on your foreman. It's not his job to make sure that it's not his job to take into consideration everything and then you just blindly rely on him. It is his job to do as much as he can do, but he's relying on you to come back and say, hey, this ladder could slip out. I need a rope or something so I can tie the bottom, you know? So the ultimately, safety is your deal. You need to protect your life, your fingers, your eyes. So to me, you need to take it serious and just not. One of the things that I see that really bothers me about safety programs nowadays is people think, oh, because there's a safety program, I can just rely on these guys. My foreman will identify everything. The company has rules. And so I just follow these rules and I'll be fine. Hell no, you won't be fine because those rules don't cover every single thing. And your foreman is only human. He's going to miss things. Safety is your responsibility. If you think something is unsafe, then you need to either not do it or figure out how to do it safely. But you have to think for yourself. If you don't think for yourself and you just blindly go by these rules, you're going to freaking get hurt anyway. I don't care how many rules they make, because something is eventually going to be happening that doesn't kind of in the gray area of some rules that somebody didn't see, and you just can't be dumb and do it anyway. Whoop. Yes. Okay. Wrong number. Now let's go to we went over PPE, we went over personal protection equipment. You're going to need to know that, what that does. Thank you, Dana.
You want to eat?
Not right now. I'm in the middle of making this video, so I'm recording
Want
this.
me to leave it? No.
Yeah, I'll take one. Thank you.
Water?
I got water. Thanks. Okay. PPE, we covered that. Personal protection equipment. OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Those are terms you're going to hear thrown around a lot. At least you'll know what they mean. Okay. Real quickly now, when you show up on a job site, there are four things. That's four things that every company is going to require of you. Most every company, unless there's some little, you know, like if you're working for your uncle or something. I mean, that's a different story. But you work for a legit company on a construction site, they're going to require you to wear, all of them will supply this stuff to you. The only thing they won't supply is your own personal clothing and your boots. So that's the number one thing. You need to show up dressed like you need a shirt with sleeves at least like about 4 inches long. You got to have long pants, some kind of a work boot or a tough shoe that's made, you know, for a hazardous environment. So you need to be dressed properly for construction work. That's number one. Now, usually these companies will supply the next three, which is a hard hat. Not all hard hats are the same. They have bump caps, but hard hats are different. We'll go over that next week. They're going to require you to be wearing your safety glasses at all times. And they're going to require you to usually wear some sort of a safety vest. You might get out of that if you have a bright orange shirt or bright green. They want you to be visible so you don't get run over. So again, 4 types of PPE that will absolutely be required on every job is proper clothing. Okay, yeah, that means your footwear too. Hard hat, safety glasses, and visible, highly visible clothing. Probably a safety vest usually. Now, there are 5 things that you'll need to have that the company would supply for you under certain conditions. You will be required to have more than that. And that's, for instance, like we covered, I briefly talked about it, about a grinder. Let's say you're grinding nowadays, and they say safety glasses are not good enough for just grinding, that you have to have a face shield also. So, that's one thing. You have to have a face shield. If you're working up high or within, I think it's 6 feet or 4 feet of the edge. I think it's 4 feet now. I have to look that up real quick. 4 feet of the edge of a building with, nothing barricaded or no cable, or even if you're up 6 foot high on a ladder. If you can fall more than 6 feet, you have to have some sort of a safety harness with a lanyard or a rope, where you're tied off. So if you're working around hazardous powder or stuff floating in the air, you need some sort of a respirator. Doesn't even need to be hazardous, could just be dust. So be a respirator. If you're working with some kind of, even cement now has chemicals in it. They're going to want you to wear gloves. So we got a respirator. We've got gloves, respirator, gloves. Shoot, I'm drawing a blank right now. Respirator, gloves, face shield, fall protection. There's one more. What is the 5th one that I can't remember right now? What would that be? Number 5. What is number 5? Respirator, gloves, face shield, fall protection. Dang it, there's something else. What would it be? Probably something goofy. Let me see. Sorry, gentlemen, I've drawn a blank right now. Oh, no, I went over gloves, harness, safety glasses, respirator, face shield. There's more. What am I missing? Oh, I know what I'm missing. Freaking hearing protection. Duh. Okay, if you're around loud stuff, you either earmuffs, or the stuff, the earplugs that go in your ears. So again, these are all things your employer should have to give you. You can use your own, but they have to be approved. We'll go over to that later. But anyway, hearing protection, gloves, respirator, face shield, and I'm still only up at 4. Oh, shoot. Fall protection, harnesses, that's the 5th one. I'm going to have to memorize these or write them down somewhere so I act like I know what I'm doing. I know what they are. I just drawn a blank today. All right. So again, not again. You got it. Went over it enough. All right. Well, we'll go over one last time. When you show up for work and you're on the construction site, you're gonna have to be wearing a hard hat, probably a safety vest, proper clothing, and safety glasses. Under certain circumstances, you're gonna have to have a respirator, you know, you're gonna have to have fall protection, gloves, a face shield, and hearing protection of some sort. Anyway, last thing I want to throw at you, this is, like I said, this is just an overview, an intro of safety. We'll go over the details next week, but there is one last thing. It is your responsibility for any PPE, personal protection equipment, that you make sure that it's not damaged. So it's like, oh, I got a harness. Yeah, but maybe the rope's getting ready to break. So what good is that? Or if, here's your safety glasses, and they're all scratched up. And so for you to see anything, you keep taking them off. I mean, that doesn't do any good. So make sure before you use any PPE or any equipment for that matter, that it is not damaged, especially goes for ladders. But since we're just talking about PPE, personal protection equipment, make sure that your equipment is not damaged and it's in good working order. Anyway, that's it, gentlemen. Over and out. And that should get you through the first test. All right. Talk to you later.